Welcome to Spoken Reviews, home of the Spoken Reviews. Today, guys, we're going to do a 6-month review of the Ford Mustang Mach-E. This is going to be a real review from a real, user of the vehicle, so not just someone who's driven the vehicle for, like 2 hours and a press preview. This is going to be some feedback over the last 6 months about the vehicle, what it's like to have the Ford Mach-E, as a family vehicle, what it's like to, use it as a daily driver. It's going to be mostly positive right off the bat. I don't have a lot of negative things to say about the Ford Mach-E. I am extremely impressed with the Ford Mach-E. For Ford's first major mainstream electric vehicle, I think they've done an outstanding job. So we're going to talk about some of the pros, but we will talk about some of the cons and some of the areas for improvement that Ford can make in their next iterations as they continue on the electric path. But once again, I just want to say up front that I'm extremely, happy with Ford. I think they came out the gate swinging. My honest, candid opinion is Tesla is still the industry leader, but second to Tesla, it's going to be Ford. So over any other luxury vehicle, over BMW, Volkswagen, Chevy, no. Of anyone else out there, it's going to be Tesla, then it's going to be Ford. And that's my honest opinion. So let's jump into the review, and we'll talk about the pros and the cons. And I'll give you my final thoughts on the Ford Mach-E. So kind of starting with just the exterior design, I think Ford, nailed it. It looks like a luxury vehicle to me. It doesn't look like a mid-size, mid-class vehicle. To me, this absolutely looks like a luxury vehicle. I think if you were to, put an Audi stamp on it or a Mercedes stamp on it, people wouldn't know the difference. So just the iconic design, the designers at Ford did an absolute amazing job just from every angle, right? So from the front, from the sides, from the back, this is just a beautiful vehicle, and Ford did an amazing job on the exterior design. And the impressive design not only, is on the exterior of the vehicle, but also in the inside. So just from the quality of materials that you're going to find inside, it's extremely impressive, right? So the quality of materials, the attention to detail. I mean, look at the seats. You can kind of see, right? These look like luxury seats, right? The quality looks like something, again, I paid 50 grand for this. I think that this is going to compete with vehicles that are, $75,000, $80,000 vehicles, even from the door, right? Like, let's look at the quality, right? The trim pieces, the material pieces. It's soft, right? You put your elbow here, it's nice and soft. The stitching, right? I extremely impressed with the design, and it carries on to the back seat, right? So, again, I have 2 small kids. It's not just about me; it's about my family. The design, carries over to the back seat. It's nice, it's roomy, the same quality materials, right? So if you look at the door panels here, whether you're seeing in the front or the back, you're still getting the quality, right? So the quality, the design, the small attention to details, right? And these things cost extra money, but Ford didn't really spare expenses to have quality there. So speakers in the door, high quality. To open the back door, it's absolutely amazing. Even down to having your AC vents down here and having a USB-C and a USB plug back here. Absolutely beautiful design. And then we're gonna kind of take it up to the front. This glass roof, in my opinion, the design and the amount of extra headroom that it provides, it can't be beat. In my opinion, again, this is class winning. In some ways, my wife and I talk about this, when we're comparing the Ford versus the Tesla, the 3 or the Y, I think that Ford actually wins with this roof design. The big difference is for the Y, it's going to carry on all the way back as one big piece, and you do have that piece right there on the Ford. But when you look up, the fact that it bubbles up and it maximizes the amount of headroom space, it's absolutely beautiful in that interior design. Going off to the trunk space, it's decent, but it's not class leading, right? So again, it's decent. I can get a stroller in here. I can get a double stroller in here. I can get about 6 suitcases in here. But Tesla's going to win hands down on that. One thing I'll point out right here is the under storage. It's lacking, right? So Tesla's already come up with a winning formula where you have a huge under storage. You can fit a carry-on suitcase down there, right? And that's what we've done. I fit a whole carry-on suitcase in here. Ford's decision to not offer that and to just have this how it is. It's a personal decision, but in my opinion, in real life experience and being practical, having kids, having to go on road trips, numerous road trips, losing that extra space makes a difference. So it's a negative, right? So we have to be honest. You do have the cover design, which is it's just unique. This is the very first time, right? So you have the cargo cover that's built in that you can take out. It's a unique aspect. For 6 months, no real issues, but I don't know how this is going to hold up to time. So my concern is this is not going to last over time. So we'll kind of zoom in here so you guys can see. The mechanism is basically a string on a hook here, and then a little latching system right here, right? So it's nothing. It's simple. It's fairly cheap, but I do have some concerns about how long it's going to last. So I do want to give kudos to Ford for having in the premium, having really amazing sub. Sounds great back here, but also putting small touches, right, having a 12-volt. So this is the small things that they don't have to do, that when it comes down to crunching the numbers and increasing profit, a lot of companies make these cuts, but Ford gave it all to you. All right, let's move on to the Frunk. So this is one thing where you can definitely tell that Ford made some cuts. It looks like they just used a part off the shelf. So you have this latch right here, and you have to pull it twice to get to the Frunk. There is no way to open it with your app, unlike the fact that Tesla, you can do that. It's really easy, and it's whenever you're like leaving the grocery store and you're walking out, that's something that we do on a regular basis. Now, when you get to the actual Frunk here, I want to give Ford kudos. They're the only company that's not Tesla that gives you like a legit usable Frunk. I guess the Rivian, but besides Tesla, Ford, and the Rivian, they're the only one that gives you a legit one. Most companies don't give you anything. If they do give you something, it's like an insult. It's barely big enough to hold your charging cables. With the Frunk here, you can actually put a full carry-on suitcase. So I think it's actually a little bigger than the Tesla Model Y's Frunk, but it's probably bigger than the Model Y and the Model 3's Frunk, if we're being honest. And we've owned both, and I can tell you pretty confidently it is bigger than both. And big shout out to all the designers for including the Easter eggs. So all throughout the vehicle, you're going to have these little nice touches. Again, you don't have to do this, but they do it. It does add a little extra level of complexity from engineering and having to press the mold, but it's quality, right? And when we talk about that this looks like a luxury vehicle that Ford's making, it's all these little small things that add up to that luxury vehicle feel. All right, guys, looking at the interior, unbiased, this is top notch again. So that luxury feel continues here, right? So the steering wheel, this feels like something out of an Audi, right? It's nice and thick, it's soft, it gives, it's high quality. Completely different than Tesla. Tesla's going minimalist. You have all the buttons that you need, but they're laid out simple and they're big enough that even if you have like big hands, you can quickly get to these. You can memorize them really easy, so it's not difficult at all. So I think Ford really hit the ball out of the park with that. Going on to having the heads-up display. It's simple. It doesn't cost them much, but it's effective, right? So again, whenever you have the Tesla, and we've had the 3, we've had the Y, and we're actually getting another 3, but having to look here always, it's one of those things that you try to convince yourself because you're on the Tesla bandwagon that this is the best thing to do and it's so much easier. But in reality, you have to take your eyes off the road each time, right? You can kind of like see straight some of these areas up top and not have your eyes off the road, but anything below, you have to have your eyes off the road. Versus a Ford, you're looking straight ahead. You have everything that you need, all the information you need, right? All the critical information. So, charge, range, all the information about the lights, the door ajar, the brakes, even the turn-by-turn directions, they preview right up here. And it's whether you're using the native Ford app or Google Maps or Apple Apple Maps. It's all here. So everything that you need to operate, it's all here. And then if you do need to get into this information, you can get to it real nice and easy. At first, I wasn't the biggest fan of the dial, but after 6 months, I actually like it. It makes it easier. I can reach down here quickly without even looking and make the adjustments. And in the new software that I haven't received yet, which is a knock, but you can actually you can click the heat and then you can turn the dial and it'll make the adjustments. The current older version that I'm in right now, you have to do this slide up and down, which, I mean, it's okay, but it's not the most effective. And sometimes, like, I'm hunting and pecking, because you have to hit it just right. And when you're driving, that can be dangerous. But again, they've updated it with new software, but unfortunately, I don't have it right. And that software's been on since December. It's February, so I'm a little salty about that. So it's all the little details, right? Like being able to program your garage opener, included, not having to pay extra, versus Tesla's going to nickel and dime you. I think it's extra $300 to get that capability. But again, Ford, they gave you a lot. I mean, you got a lot for the money right here. Just the high quality of the materials, simple things like having your sunglass holder, right? They really focused on giving you the most bang for your buck. And like I said, and if I'm being honest, for every one bad thing that I have to say about this vehicle, there's probably 10 good things. So again, this is a mostly positive, real review of someone who is, I'm pretty critical of stuff. I'm pretty exposed to a lot of vehicles. I am a car nerd. I am a tech nerd. I'm a tough customer. And for the most part, Ford has, done a great job, right? There's not a lot of negative things to say. Now, there is a lot of information out there about people having quality issues with their Fords on Reddit, on Facebook, and it's all confirmed with like screenshots and videos, people's cars going into limp modes and all these other things, getting towed. We personally haven't experienced that, but we've only left the DFW area twice, right? So we've been, the last 6 months has been all within 150 miles from home, and when I say that, I'll kind of end it on this note. The reason, and it's hard to say this right, like the biggest reasons why we realize that we don't want to be in this ecosystem is because of the supporting infrastructure, right? Electrify America, at least in Texas, maybe this is different people on the West Coast or in Europe or on the East Coast. Electrify America is pretty much all we have for fast charging. The only other charging options are like super slow. It's not bearable. And the fact that I only got the standard range battery, right? So I'm limited, and I can't make the trips to Houston without stopping. If I had the extended range, I could do it without stopping. We don't have to worry about it. But for us, we're in a position, we're kind of on an EV island in the DFW, where the EV Electrify America chargers that exist, whether we go down 45 or 35, they're few and far in between. Some of them only have as little as like 4 chargers, and they have huge reliability issues. So to the point that we don't have the ability to move freely, right? So if I'm only gonna ever stay in the DFW, standard's great. I love it. But we do have plans. We have family in Houston. We have friends in San Antonio. We have friends in Austin. These are all 4 to 5-hour trips, right? We're completely reliant on supporting infrastructure. It's not Ford's fault that they don't have it, but it is also Ford's responsibility to help contribute to it. And I know they're trying to a degree, but they're not trying enough, and it's kind of late in the game, right? As opposed to Tesla, right? Like I can get a Tesla, I can just drive. These Tesla superchargers, again, we've had about 2 years of experience with owning Teslas. You can go anywhere. We've gone to Florida twice, Colorado, San Antonio, Austin, Houston. We're never to think twice. We're never worried about it. We can just go. Versus this, it's a certain level of anxiety, and that's going to probably be the main reason why it's not going to be for us, right? In the future, when the non-Tesla charging networks are competitive, right? And I have the freedom to, not only enjoy the vehicle around town, but also to get on the road, right? That's what we like to do. We like to go on the road. We like to have fun. until we get there, it's going to be very hard for anyone to have a non-Tesla EV. And if we're being super honest, like with my 2 years of owning Teslas, having to stop and charge still kind of sucks. People try to convince themselves like it's not so bad, and it's not horrible, but it still kind of sucks, right? Like having to stop when you're not used to having to stop. Around town, you don't have to do that. It doesn't, it's night and day, and the benefits completely outweigh it around town. But like whenever you're making those 4, 5, 6, 7 hour road trips, having to stop, it sucks. But Tesla, it sucks the least amount because it's the best, right? With anything that's not Tesla, you're rolling the dice, right? So it's and people are trying to convince themselves, and they're it's not so bad, it's not so bad until you get stranded, right? And that's not really the path that we want to go down with for our family, right? Like we have 2 small kids, being stranded, stuck in Waco because the charger's not working or whatever, then having to go trickle charge at a Walgreens or something like that. It's not what we want to do, right? Or being stuck and stranded in Ennis, Texas because the chargers aren't working, or Madisonville, or anything, right? Like it's just not working. And as non-Tesla EVs continue to sell, which is amazing and great, and I love it for, just for competition and the environment and everything. I love it. There's going to be even more demand on an already fragile, subpar system. So again, like I said, it's not Ford's fault directly, but it kind of is Ford's fault, everyone else's fault. Tesla is, from day one, they sought out and they knew, hey, we need to have a charging network, and they did it. They executed it, and they're number one around the world. But again, guys, hopefully that helps you. My recommendation is that, hey, if you're a family or a person that's only gonna, be around a metroplex and you're gonna exclusively charge at home, by all means, standard's great. If you're gonna be on road trips at a regular cadence, I would get the extended battery, right? The fact that I didn't make that decision 6 months ago, I'm in the position where I'm in now, right? Like I limited my choices by just getting the regular battery. I saved $8,000 up front, but now I'm going to trade this vehicle and take a little bit of a loss on the trade. But it is what it is. So once again, Ford, amazing, great job. I can't commend you guys enough. There's some certain things you need to improve on, right? So the software, it's not where it needs to be. But overall, the physical design and execution, outstanding. A lot of the issues are going to be the software and the charging network. Well, guys, thank you for watching this real life review from a real life consumer on the Ford Mach-E. We appreciate you. This channel has been growing. Can't grow without you guys. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you want to see more videos like this and kind of see what's the next step after we trade the Ford Mach-E, go ahead and sub to the channel. Thanks a lot and have a great day.